Now that we're knee deep side by side, the storm clouds are circling above us as we struggle against the tide. I feel your grip firm on my shoulder, but this fear in my head won't subside. They patiently circle around us as we hold out. Oh, for the light of they forsaken me, you believe that they would. The curses passing down our bloodlines, and the sun has stood. Losing light, the strength of will, the darkened depths beckoning still. Then we hold on against the tide. The storm left to fight alone. Remember some young reaping what you sown. Under the waves are sinking like a stone. Sorry, son, you're reaping what you sown. The storm left to fight alone. Remember, son, you're reaping what you sown. Waves are sinking like a stone. I'm sorry, son, you're reaping what you sown. You're reaping what you sown. You're reaping what you sown.
Computer, stop music. All right. Stream. I am streaming. Gonna make some things out of wood. I'm not really sure exactly what I'm gonna start with today, but I've got, let's see, last stream we made this lovely, lovely French cleat mallet holder. And I'm thinking of making some more for big mallet and for my claw hammer, little tack hammer that I got, as well as maybe some bookends, because I got a new bookshelf that I hate. Let us not speak of it anymore, but bookends are still kind of important to have, so I may make some of those out of oak, but we'll see. But first order of business is I need to put some more glue in my glue bottle, I believe. Let's get some tunes going. I've recently discovered the Twitch music playlist, stuff that they have explicitly authorized for playing on Twitch. And good morning, whoever is just now joining me. If you want to say hi, I will see who you are. Otherwise, it will remain a mystery. Glue is very slow to pour. Maybe we'll just leave it like this for a little bit. Computer, resume music. Computer, next song. I don't like this one very much. Computer, next song. There we go.
I am not sure. I am accessing a full topographic map of materia, and this location is not registered.
Good luck to explore, but our cell need recharging. We need to get back to the ship.
Okay. That's enough wood.
Leave this wasteland, where humanity once lived and loved.
Your models have been programmed with an approximation
I'll
of
fall over.
human love. Mine were not. Therefore, I do not understand.
It is unfortunate.
See if I can't restore this to its proper shape somewhat. There we go. It's actually a bit surprised to learn that you can actually rehydrate these. That particular bottle had been in storage for several months and had started to harden, but added some water, diluted it a bit, and it's right as rain now. Alright, let's see what we can do. I've got some leftover scrap pine from an earlier project. And that would make a nice mount holder, I do believe. Alright, so I'm going to need round about here and here, so a little bit further over actually. Okay. And we'll leave just a little bit extra because so dowels will be right about here, leave a little bit space extra down below for support. About like this. Sorry for the noise. Now let's do this like we're proper woodworkers. Computer, reduce volume. Computer, reduce volume. Computer, next song. I don't like the lyrics of that one. someday I'll have that going through the actual broadcast software rather than being recorded on a microphone, very low quality microphone in the garage from across the room. But this is what I got for now. I was actually looking at wireless earbuds. Thought that would make a nice solution for monitoring audio on the screen. So I can hear alerts, hear the music as it's going through, that sort of thing. Clean this up just a little bit. There we go. And that ought to leave me enough for, I think, the claw hammer. And you know what? I had a test hole. Yeah, these are a little bit looser than the dowels I made yesterday. But they should suit our needs just fine. And this is the angle we're going to match. I'm really going to have to start going through these songs and making my own playlist of just things that I think are appropriate, or at least sound good. Just want the snail to poke through the other side. There we go. See the snail? I'm just going to back off. That's all I got to do. Go to the next hole. There we go. Clean up the fuzzies. And let me get a smaller chisel. See if we can't just scrape out the fuzzies in the bottom there. Because nobody likes fuzzies. I'm noticing a trend. There's a lot of dubstep on this playlist. And not particularly good dubstep either. Computer, next song. Actually, we need these to be a little bit longer, don't we? All right, let's do this the smart way. Grab our friend Mr. Bench Hook. Clear out some space for him. We'll need you later, don't worry. Not getting rid of you yet, Bevel Gauge. Okay, and we'll just line these guys up, saw through both at the same time. I get the sneaking suspicion, though, that this is not going to work as well as I had planned. Actually, it turned out fairly well. Okay, we will keep you. Okay, just take care of these edges a little bit. I can deal with this on. Generous helping of glue. Oh, no, that's... We're going to get a fair amount of squeeze out, I can tell. Welcome viewer number 2, whoever you are. I can't see names in my current setup, so you will remain anonymous until you speak. At least anonymous to me. Making another mallet holder. This time using scraps and pine rather than busting out with the dowel maker, the dowel plate and everything like that. Oh, you could squeeze out in the back. And I do not want glue on my bench top. Get us another piece of French cleat. You'll all have to forgive me if I start dancing, and just be warned, it will not be pretty, and you may in fact confuse it with an epileptic seizure. There's no need to report it to the authorities. Blue oyster on my mind, I think you're saying. And I think I need a little bit more extra clamping pressure because I got a bit of a gap in the middle there still. See if this does the trick. Oh yeah, they can be friends. Alright, set that aside to dry and let's get out the next one. Now this is for this hammer. So we are going to put the dowels a bit closer together. And in fact, maybe okay, so these are kind of not level with each other. They're a little offset, and that's fine. We will just drill our holes offset. And then we'll have a nice, snug little fit. Okay, we need our bevel gauge out again, so we can get that nice, lovely angle. Just watch for the snail. Blue oyster. Wasn't that the name of the club from the Police Academy series? Blue Oyster Club. Might just end up being a mystery to me. Now, the Police Academy movies growing up, they were the funniest things in the world. And now that I'm older, I just no longer understand. They're not nearly as amusing as they used to be. Just get the fuzzies out of the bottom of here. All right. Now, is this enough dowel? Oh, that'll do nicely, yeah. Pretty sure anyway. Oh, perfect. Let's just cut these to equal length. Was my overhead camera frozen already? It has, hasn't it? No, it's just really slow to respond. I don't know, I got a second camera over there that I could use, but it's doing about the same. Might be that I am using up way too much network resources. I mean, if you guys can tell me how the stream looks, I can make adjustments if need be. But as of right now, I just don't know. Okay, that was dangerous, don't do that. Now, I just want to make sure I'm not missing any messages, because there's now 4 people on stream, and I usually get someone talking to me about this time. Computer, stop music. I'm thinking that music might be messing up the stream quality a bit, because I am downloading that and streaming that from Spotify. Which I suppose in going forward, I could possibly just download all that music. That might be a smarter way of going about it. Bevel my edges here. Let's see if I get this sticker off. So I don't think stickers are ideal gluing surfaces. Some glue in there. And let's maybe get this off the side so the squeeze out in the back where the snail hole went doesn't get glue all over my lovely bench. Yeah, That is the overhead, isn't it? No, that's the wide angle. Okay, I meant to do the overhead. Let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, you're not going to see much. That's more intended just to kind of give you a spatial awareness of what's going on in the shop rather than the close-up. You're more of a cinematographer than I am anyway. I see how it is. You're playing Final Fantasy over paying attention to your dear close friend. Alright, I had... There it is. Actually, I'm probably going to need to cut another chunk of this out pretty soon. So I don't know how much longer this is going to last me. Well, it is busy in the shop today. 5 viewers. That is uncommon, except when Timber is raiding me. Or maybe he's letting out now, so everybody's coming over. But welcome all. I'm going to have to take your word for that, David, because I don't know enough about roulettes and Final Fantasy, so I'm going to assume it's some sort of random event that takes place on rare occasions. So for those of you just joining me, I'm assuming that Timber New has just finished his stream, which is why everybody's showing up here. I'm second fiddle, I understand. But I'm making more mallet holders and hammer holders at the moment. So it's the third one, and it looks like I'm going to need to bend this a bit too with some clamps, so fortunately I got enough of those. Alright, you know what, I meant to tag another community on this stream, because I do the Ready Set stream for some reason, and I do the Woodworkers community, and I found there's actually a community for veterans, so I thought I might tag that and see if anybody wants to talk about Army stuff, because that's the thing I know about. Not necessarily as much as everybody else. I did spend 20 years at it. And I know things, and I drink occasionally. I actually recently discovered the joys of bourbon, so I've been experimenting with that and its variations. All right, so I've got now holder for this, and a holder for this. So That should be many hammers held. Which is almost alliteration. We'll have to work on that some more. A host of hammers held, yes. There we go. Is 3 a host? I don't think 3 is a host. Tell me, chat. Tell me, is 3 a host? Is that sufficient for hosting? A plethora of pounding protuberances. No, that's not right either. Okay. Shall we embark on the notion of bookends? I think I've kept you waiting long enough, so this could be the fun part here. I'm going to make these, or at least one of them, from oak. And here's the notion. I'm going to go full width of this, and one side's going to be the bottom, one side's going to be upright, so I'm going to dovetail those in. Dovetail, not that's like a box joint, but dovetail. And then maybe cut about 2 inches, a 2-inch strip as a brace, and I'll do an angled mortise and tenon, so kind of a mitered mortise and tenon. I think I know how to do that. I've never done it before, but if it works, we'll be surprised together. So, about how long do I want to make this? Or how... Honestly, I'd say that's about right for a bookend. Would you agree, chat? That's the bad square. We don't use that square. Except in emergencies. Okay, this guy's bothering me. I gotta fix this. I know this is a beater chisel, but it still needs to be sharp. And it's got gunk on the back of it. And gunk we cannot abide. I do believe we need to find a better mechanism for this, but yeah, I got a this PVC cutting board and cut out recesses for these with a router, and it was a proper power router too, so not the good old 71. But it works now quite a bit, so. Oh boy. Just trying to get this gunk off. It's not being all that cooperative. And you gotta be careful too, because it'd be quite easy to cut myself here, which I'm sure would make for very entertaining content, except for the part where I'd end the stream and run to the hospital. mess around with chisels. They will cut you. Yeah, that's an option, I suppose. The goof off or goo gone. But glass cleaner should work too. And you know what? I'm going to take it. It's been a while since I've done this properly, and I don't think it's got the edge where it's supposed to be. Just going to check my alerts here real quick. Yeah, all of these were from 2 days ago, so good to go. And there we go. Nice burr all the way across. In your hole. There we go. Just take the burr off so we can see where we're at. And I actually end up, despite the fact that this is not the good chisels, I end up using this one quite a bit because it's the widest chisel I own. And in spite of the label being prominently displayed, this stream is not endorsed by anybody. All right, nice burr. Take that off. And you can set these back here. Onto the leather. And the chromium oxide. Which is one of my favorite wax suspended chemicals. And Sergeant Hollywood, if you happen to be watching, don't eat this. I know it looks like a crayon, but it's for sharpening. Gotta be careful with those Marines and crayons or crayon looking objects. There we go, nice and sharp. And what were we doing? Oh yeah. We were marking something to be cut. Sorry about the noise. And we got a train going by too. Awesome. Find the right saw. Don't want the rip cut saws, want the cross cut saw. Nice little curve. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and do this right and get a edge mark as well. Just to follow it. There we go, there's one piece. Let's make another. I love holdfasts. They are my favorite clamping solution. In fact, I'm going to put another one on. Because you're not actually woodworking unless you beat something with a hammer. Evidently didn't get it quite as deep as I wanted to on the scoring. There we go. Nice solid kerf there. Forgot to score the edge again. Just get ahead of myself sometimes. Right. You know what? I might as well cut all 4 pieces and then cut the angled supports, because I know I'm going to need at least 2 bookends. and then we can decide if we want to make more. So prototype the set, and then see if we want to do any more of them. Gotta check to make sure my camera's still on. Just being that close to the ceiling and the fact that it's an Android phone, it does tend to overheat. Usually close to the end of my stream, so about 2 hours in. And it's fine when I'm not streaming. You know, it can run for days at a time. But I think the fact that I'm in here, you know, with my own particular body heat contributing to the overall temperature of the room, kind of accelerates the process. I would like to replace that with like a webcam or something. But as of right now, it's what I can do. Because even though I have a webcam, oh, it's just a 2-car garage. I mean, it's standard 2-car garage. So not that big. Was it like roughly 20 by 20, something like that? Or if you're metric, then you're wrong. Room 705 Studios. Is that what you call yourself? Am I getting that right? Yeah, someday I'd like to have a proper shop with air conditioning that I'm not sharing with the lawnmower and the storm shelter and the water heater. But that is the day when I have money, which is not today. All right. Yeah, I have considered at times like trying to find some kind of collaborative space, but I don't know, I kind of like just being able to go out into the garage anytime I feel like it. Then I can bring you guys with me, so it's an added benefit. Though it is a problem because I do have to share the internet. And the wife works from home, so she needs it more than I do. Because as much fun as this is, it's not paying the bills. And I get my pension regardless of whether I do anything. I'm actually probably going to have to adjust my stream times here in about a month or two. Because August I'm starting classes. And I've got morning classes that are going to make this, this time slot kind of impossible. I'm pretty sure this is not an ideal time slot either. My suspicion is that most of the folks watching me are retired, unemployed, self-employed, or work at really cool jobs that allow them to watch Twitch during work hours, which, believe it or not, is going to not be a large demographic. Though the retirees are probably the most interested in woodworking. So 705, that's what I'm going to call you from now on. You'll probably be quite aware in short order that I am a novice woodworker. So I'm doing quite a bit of experimental stuff, and I'm bound to mess things up. 39, work from home. Yep. I'm 38 and I'm retired, so I don't work at all. Whew. All right, I do need to take just a quick short break, grab myself something to drink here, so I'll be right back, don't worry. And I'm getting sweat all over my wood. That didn't come out quite as well I had intended. I told you I'd be back. I'm also not sponsored by Sprite or Coca-Cola or anybody else. I retired, 705, I retired from 20 years in the United States Army. Okay. I do not trust those edges to be squared, so shooting board time. I started as a grunt, did 6 years of that. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that's not a fun life. Somehow managed to avoid making any of those myself. I don't know why, but I'm always amazed when my work comes off the shooting board and it's actually square. Minot, North Dakota. If I'm not mistaken, that's Air Force? I only had limited dealings with the Air Force. For some reason, Army just keeps itself separate from the other services. I think we're more closely integrated with the Air Force than like the Navy or the Marines. But must have been an officer then. I've actually played golf exactly once, and that was on an Air Force base. And I discovered that golf is like the Renaissance Fair, because there's not enough beer in the world for me to ever do it again. Okay, so that one's a little short. My uncle was an actual pro golfer. Actually, I think he might still be. He was more known for throwing tantrums than he was for golf. Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely a fan of beer. Well, proper beer, okay? If you can see through it, it's not beer. So Guinness is definitely what I'm a fan of. Well, like I said, David, there is not enough beer. The only redeeming quality, I went to the Ren Fair exactly once, and it was probably the one in Gilroy, I think. But the only redeeming quality, I would say, was there were two guys dressed up as Arthur and Patsy from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and they were awesome. They had the coconuts and everything. It was right on. But there were I do suspect that I like as far as Guinness, I like the regular, but just stout beers in general, just really dark stout beers. But back to the Ren Fair. I think there were contractors or concessions that they brought along that weren't actually part of the fair. I mean, and they were the annoying part. It was more, they were rude, they were intrusive, and okay, so there was this climbing wall. Okay, so yeah, when I think Renaissance Fair, I think rock climbing. Sure, that's exactly what I'm going there for. But this kid was running around trying to get people to climb the climbing wall because that's how they were making money. The kid walks up and grabs from you by the arm. And it's like, that's not what you do. And it's like, well, you need to come climb the climbing wall. It's like, you need to take your damn hands off me, kid. I will put you on the ground. So yeah, that's why I didn't like the Ren Fair. I don't like rude people. Which is strange because Gilroy's Ren Fair is probably the most renowned one, isn't it? It's the one you hear about all the time. I'm going to move this over so we can see the lovely joy of using the shooting board. So it's one of my favorite things. Nice little end grain shavings. Yeah, St. Louis actually had an interesting one that they had a lot of pirates and pirate-themed stuff there too. And that got so dang popular that they started having a pirate fair. So 705, are you a power tool guy or a hand tool nerd like me? Have you embraced the ways of the Neanderthal? Ah, the hybrid woodworker. Yeah, honestly, I do a bit of power tool work too, so there's my dirty little secret in the corner right there. Now, whenever possible, I like to use the hand tools. That and I pretty much just use the table saw for ripping. Or unless I'm, again, needing to make something quick and out of plywood and don't really care how it looks. But fortunately, I'm retired, so I have a lot of free time. At least until the shop gets too hot and then I call it quits. Just trying to get these all the same size. That's pretty dang close. So nah, I gotta work on that some more. There we go. Just never ceases to amaze me when you can make things like this with that kind of precision. And I'm always surprised when it works. I don't know why, but it's maybe after a few more years of doing this, I won't be surprised anymore. But for now, make sure to wipe the sweat off this so it don't rust. And actually put some oil. It's probably due for that. That 62 plane is a wonderful, wonderful creation. I was always skeptical of the folks who touted its virtues, but ever since buying one, I am definitely a convert. If you're going to be working on end grain, you want a 62. Although I suppose if you're mostly doing just shooting board stuff, you could get away with like a dedicated shooting board plane. But those are expensive and they're not as useful. Like when I was making this mallet, right? This is all end grain, so had to plane this flush. And yeah, 62 definitely came in handy with this build. All right, what am I doing next? What am I doing next? Let's do some dovetails. And for dovetails, I need my dividers. And let's get a marking gauge. set that to the thickness of the receiving piece. I cut tails first, and let's see, I'm gonna want, let's get out another marking gauge. And I'm gonna set this to about 2/3 of the thickness of the board. And make a mark, so that's going to be the thickness of the pins. Or the half pins, I guess. I do make them probably a bit thicker than I need to, but all right. So I think I want 3 tails. So about like that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and that's a little bit over. Okay, great. So that's going to be mark right there. Then a mark right there. Mark right there. And a mark right there. All right, so I got some edges for my tails. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a mark all the way across. And I'll plane that off later. I don't even see the mark I just made. Oh, there we go, I see it now. You know, it might actually be nice to have a bit of a light back here too, so I can see what I'm doing. That's not going to be long enough, is it? Okay. I don't have enough power either. But you know what? Let's do this too. Bring you guys down so you can kind of see what's going on with the dovetails if you're not familiar. But so we got lines marked out, and then we just walk the dividers back to mark the other side of the pins. And so we've got very light lines, and I'm going to go ahead and just darken them in with a pencil. Well, there's this one right there. Let's make that one a bit deeper. Be very careful not to catch yourself doing this. And the beautiful thing is too, is we don't need to be too terribly exact with these pins, or with these tails, because the pins are cut to fit the tails. So if we're off, we just need to be the same bit off with the pins. And now over here, and I'll grab the tail on the other side. And you can get really exact with these if you want to. It just it doesn't matter all that much. And I should have another one here. Yeah, that's about right. Can be kind of hard to tell where the lines are when you're dealing with open grain like this. Alright, so just as an illustration, get a line there, I've got a line there, approximately there, and there. So we'll cut out these. And we'll be left with these tails. 1, 2, 3. And let's just go ahead, probably should have done this before, score across. We want to make sure bevel out, so bevel into the waist. Whenever we possibly can. I do like this dovetail marker. It's the template. It's working out pretty well for me. I made a video about it a few weeks ago, and I'll be giving this away with James Wright's challenge, if you're all at all familiar with him. So he has this annual tool making challenge where you make a tool, make a video of making a tool, and then you give it away at the end of it. And this pencil definitely is not ideal for this purpose, but I'm just trying to give myself a rough idea of where these lines are. And it seems like we've got a bit of weather that I wasn't quite expecting. Okay. Work with me, King. Tripod, work with me. I'm glad I mowed the lawn when I did. Let's go, come on. Sorry about this, folks. I know it's not good for your stomachs to be watching me move the camera or mess around like that, but that's what I gotta do sometimes. Now, I like to adjust my workpiece so that the angle I'm cutting is going to be perpendicular. And that way I can kind of better follow it down, and I know I'm going over my line right now. But you got to practice somehow, right? Oh man. If you can see, that's not straight across, and you want them to be straight across. So that means I'm probably going to have to work on that quite a bit with the chisel. Which is not what I was wanting to do. Flip that over the other way. I really just need better lighting right here. Is there something I can do? Yeah. Hopefully my battery won't die. So I'm unplugging my phone right now. So that's everything that's broadcasting here. I'm at 93%, so that should last a good amount. And this is how we do it redneck style in the Daddy Warcrimes woodshop. This is a old microphone stand and a little clip-on shop light. Oh, there we go. That's much gooder. Those are not quite vertical. This light ought to be over on this side. That is such a wonderful smell when you're cutting oak. All right. And you know what I probably should do is go ahead and mark my second tailboard. Just while I've got everything already set up before I get too distracted. And give everything a nice coating of sweat. Because, you know, moisture doesn't make boards warp or anything like that. Okay, and dividers. We go 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's get the light in here before we forget. I think I need one of those lights that's on a swivel so I can just kind of swing it around from one side of the work to the other. But yeah, this red oak, it's hard to see the lines you're cutting. Unless you get just the right light. That one's going to go that way, this one go here. Well, hopefully the internet doesn't go out. It's kind of hard for me to tell. It seems to be working still. Let's say 24 frames per second, 7 kilobytes per second. Did not anticipate a thunderstorm. Well, folks, if I suddenly freeze, you'll probably know it's because the power went out. The power distribution in this area is not all that reliable. And regrettably, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to finish this piece today. Especially if I cut my finger open. So I'm having a lot of difficulty seeing my line. Is being hidden by the grain. Whew. All right. Let's just get in there. Make a nice deep cut. Okay, X, waste, 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 and so there's what we've got. You probably can't see the marks, but they are there, I assure you. Let's see if I can see them well enough to saw. Proper lighting is on the wish list, folks. Oops. Okay, there's a curve. The first set of tails is almost always off. And the second set, subsequent sets are a lot better. And this is where you start to appreciate when you spent the time to square off the end grain. So now you know you got a good reference for your marking gauge off the end. Okay, let's go ahead and make this a proper reference so I can get a knife fall on there. And let's see, chisel, no, not the 1/4 inch. Don't need a 1/4 inch for just about anything, except for really, really tiny mortises and scraping. 1/4 inch is good for tiny mortises and scraping. Let's get the light where it's useful. Let's put the light at the floor. That's going to be a great help. Hopefully that's not blinding anybody. I have a lot of trouble seeing these lines in the oak. It's not so much of a problem with lighter woods like poplar or, you know, the pine. If you can't tell, I normally work with cheap wood. And even though I probably should use a crosscut saw to cut off those ends, for some reason, when I'm doing dovetails, I always want to use my dovetail saw for that. It's not like it's that far of a reach, it's right there. Tis a silly thing, I suppose. sweating all over my chisels, probably going to start corroding them. The square moved on me. That's what I get for trying to put too much pressure at the beginning. Alright, that's 2 tailboards. And you know what? I probably want to go ahead at least there and there. And on this side, let's see what kind of chisel we can use for this. Half inch it is. Let's go ahead and listen to the rain, isn't that lovely? Makes my grass grow way too fast. The rain god getting vengeance for all my prior insults. It's not going to work, buddy. I'm still thoroughly unimpressed. A nice keen edge on the 1/2 inch. Always want your chisel sharp. Always want everything sharp. Sharp tools are useful tools. Dull tools are not. Alright, let's see. I need some kind of scrap, I think. Quarter-inch plywood, you will be my friend. And I'm going to try something a little bit different, or at least for me, and try and do this, here, let's get you over here, where we can see. So I hope we can see this, so the idea is I can do both sets kind of at the same time, and that way save some time and effort. I've never tried this before, but I've seen some folks recommend it, so I'm going to give it a whirl. Standoff. I'm going to call that about 1/16 of an inch off of the final line. Tap. And you know what? This 1/2-inch chisel's probably going to be a bit too big. Good morning, sir. Who is this? Chiseled and Askew. One of my favorite peoples on Twitch. We're doing dovetails for some reason, except I gotta take a quick break to sharpen up another chisel. So apparently I measured wrong, and the 1/2-inch is not going to cut it. So 3/8 it is. Yeah, we started the stream making some more hammer holders. And now I'm attempting bookends. And I'm using dovetails on my bookends because I can. Yeah, I on occasion attempt or considered sharpening all of my tools at once, but I think I'm going to be happier just to sharpen them as needed. And I've got a pretty good setup. I've got the diamond plates and the strop. And that seems to do the trick for me. Well, that's one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm practicing dovetails on a piece that doesn't matter. Get out of there. Little waste bits. We don't want you. Though oddly enough, dovetails are not my favorite joint. I actually really enjoy doing mortise and tenon. And got the 200, 300, 400, 600 diamond plates. They don't, mine aren't measured in grits. They just do the coarse, fine, and super fine is what mine are. I got the DMT plates as birthday presents, believe it or not. Well, when you're joining two corners, end grain corners, or you're joining a corner with end grain to end grain, it's a good way of doing it with hand tools. But yeah, when I get a chance to do a mortise and tenon, when it makes sense, I love doing it. Yeah, nicking your blades is not fun. I've managed to avoid it for the most part. And I've actually got a second coarse stone, which is a bit longer than the other one. So if I need to do any real heavy work, I can just go to town on that. Cheap chisels are good to have around. I mean, I got, this was a present from the wife for Valentine's Day, this set. Probably not the nicest chisels around, but they're a heck of a lot better than these Buck Brothers. But shoot, these, I love having those around too, because it's nice to have beater chisels. I'm not familiar with Narex. I'm guessing they're good? Believe it or not, I've heard a lot of good things about Irwin chisels. Not so much their clamps, but the chisels. Not tried them myself. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Well, I'm pretty sure they're better. The Irwins are better than the Buck Brothers, because the Buck Brothers are just they are not good. But they're good enough, is the thing. I suppose it could just be inconsistent with the manufacturing process. Quality control and whatnot. But I don't know much about those things. All I know is that hard steel is supposed to hold an edge better, and soft steel is supposed to be able to take more of a beating. Which is why a lot of folks swear by the whole zone hardening thing. I believe some of the Japanese planes do the zone hardening. Or something like they laminate a piece of iron onto the back of their steel for their planes. They are interesting, but are my cameras frozen? Oh, just over there. Okay. I've tried to avoid the Japanese tools for now, just because that's something I don't want to distract myself with. Though but they sell them through Lee Valley. They're hollows and rounds. And if you've looked at like the Western style hollows and rounds, the side escapement planes, I mean, they're nice, but they cost a lot of money. I mean, you're looking at $200 for a plane in some cases. And that's just like for a hollow or a round. And, you know, trying to do like a quarter set even, or a half set of hollows and rounds. You're talking, what, it's about 12 planes? Something like that. I got that kind of money. Yeah, but the ones from Lee Valley, they're recommended by hand tool guys that I respect. It's like, I think Tom Fidgen endorsed it. Endorsed the set of those from Lee Valley. So I think I might give those a whirl if and when I decide that I need hollows and rounds. Okay, so this technique is not really doing it for me, so I'm just going to go ahead and go like that. And just do one at a time and stop stacking them. Alright, so these ones are a bit wider. Are you talking about the Veritas? Because the ones I was talking about are not, they're just like... there's kind of cheap wooden Chinese planes. I've avoided the Veritas planes too. I don't like the way the lateral adjustments work on them. So, like with your Stanleys and your Lee Nielsen's. I don't have any Lee Nielsen bench planes, but they've got just the depth adjuster right here, and they got the lateral adjuster as a separate entity. With the Lee Valley Veritas planes, they're bench planes, they have the depth adjustment is on the lateral adjustment. And I think that's probably not the greatest way of doing it. And I'd worry about just getting it all out of whack. Yeah, Lee Nielsen can be kind of spendy. But the Veritas planes, they're not cheap either. And I do like Veritas. I got 2 of these Veritas saws, and I love these. These are wonderful. I've never tried any of the Lee Nielsen saws, but I love the Veritas saws. Those are my favorites so far. Obviously, the only comparison I've got is this Garlic and Sun and my 2 antique Distons. But I definitely love the Veritas saws. They're awesome. Do recommend. In fact, the only reason I got that Garlic and Son was because I needed a tenon saw for building this this bench. You might not be able to tell, but all of the legs are double mortise and tenon into the bench top. That's fine, Chisel. I do appreciate you being here. I'll just talk to myself like I always do. But yeah, the carcass saw was not a big enough plate, and it's cross cut, not rip cut. And the dovetail saw, which I had at the time, were definitely not long enough for those tenons. So I went out and went to Woodcraft to get a tenon saw, and that was the only one they had. They didn't have a Veritas. So I've got a Garlic and Son tenon saw, and not a Veritas tenon saw. True story. The end. We all lived happily ever after. All right. On to the next one. This is definitely sweaty work. And looks like somebody just came online. So I'm getting a lot of Twitch notifications. Let's see. Twitch. Okay, mobile dashboard and Harmful Opinions is streaming. Dark Souls. Let's go. Back to chat. That's what I want to see. Go! All right. So day turns into night, night turns into day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side. That's what we're doing here. Gotta break on through. Yeah. I probably just butchered those lyrics. But to be honest, I am not the world's biggest fan of the Doors. What did we used to cover? We used to cover Roadhouse Blues. Back in my rock star days. Except we didn't have anybody in the band who could play the harmonica, so that was a little bit disappointing. Although one time one of the local bar patrons brought his harmonica and decided to play along with us. That was amusing. How are we on battery? Oh, that's worrisome. We cannot broadcast if the battery is dead. Okay. Well, there's one. It's not expecting it that quickly, but I'll take it. before we get too far ahead of ourselves, check the edge. You want to re-hone it before it gets dull. There's a burr. Thor ain't playing around today. I think might be pretty close to getting through. There we are. All right, so I got one tailboard done, or at least through. This is nowhere near done. And actually, I'm gonna get these to slide out. But that's close to what we're looking for. So we'll do this one the rest of the way, and then start cutting on the pins. And obviously gonna have to clean these up and make them fit, make them all purties. But that is probably going to be another day, because I've been on here 2 hours. It's getting really hot. I'm getting really thirsty and a little bit hungry, and the rest of the family needs the internet too. So I will bid you all adieu, and let me see if I can figure out how rating works. Because I've been rated, and this is probably the most viewers I've ever had on my own. So let me see here. Let's do a search. Okay, channels, no. Protean projects, okay. Let's see. See if I can figure this out. Just, I hope you can bear with me, folks. There we go. Was it exclamation point raid? Well, I hope I didn't bore you too much, Distracted Bull. Y'all are going to have to tell me if this works. I don't know if it will. Did that work? Anything happening? I'm really bad at this Twitch stuff. Okay, well, unfortunately, let's see, maybe... No. Well, I'll tell you what, go over to Protean Projects. He's going to be doing creative. He's doing some leatherwork stuff right now, last I checked. But decent fellow, and you should check him out. And yeah, you're supposed to see someone else's channel, David, but it didn't work. I don't know what I'm doing. I am Twitch illiterate, unfortunately. I'll get there eventually. Eventually I'll get there, but right now, yeah, it's not working. But I do appreciate y'all stopping by, even if you were just lurking. Lurking's fine. Go check out Protean Projects when we're done here, if you are still looking for something to watch. And if you haven't already, look me up down below. I got my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my blog. And give me a follow here if you haven't already, and subscribe to me on YouTube too. Those are great things to do. But yeah, again, thanks for stopping by, and until next time, don't smoke dope, chew rope, fight fuck, or drive a truck. Dismissed.